Sonic the Hedgehog is no stranger to creepypastas. However, the one that has damaged my psyche the most has to be Tails Doll. Now, don't cringe when I tell you this, but I found out about Tails Doll on a Sonic role-playing server on Roblox when I was younger. If that in itself doesn't qualify me for some type of mental diagnosis, then I don't know what does. But where does Tails Doll originate from? Well, it all starts with this game here, Sonic R. Sonic R is infamous for being one of the worst Sonic games, and that mainly has to do with how terrible the game is to control. That isn't unique to this game though, most 3D Sonic games are pretty bad to control. This game just more than others. The game originally came out on the Sega Saturn, but it was ported to GameCube via the Sonic Gems collection, which is how I played it as a kid. But aesthetically, the game is very charming, and like most Sonic games, the music is pretty good. You can play as most of the standard Sonic characters, but there's one character that stands out the most, Tails Doll. Now, I always assumed that Tails Doll was just a kind of random addition to the game, but apparently there is lore behind why he's there. According to the Sonic fandom wiki, Tails Doll is a stuffed toy created by Eggman in the image of Tails. It was used during the first World Grand Prix in an attempt to catch Sonic unguarded. So, not only is the guy a villain in the creepypastas, but he's also a villain in the story as well. He serves as Tails' sort of evil variant, versus like Sonic and Knuckles who both get metal versions of themselves. Tails Doll definitely has a bit of an unsettling look, so naturally the internet was like, alright, let's make him bleed from the eyes. Now, a big difference between Tails Doll and someone like Ben Drowned, who I talked about in my last video if you haven't seen it, is that Tails Doll does not have a definitive story. The earliest known example, which I found in a video posted by the Men Talk, which I'll link in the description of this video, says that it originated on the Morbius forums at the Sonic HQ board all the way back in 2005. Apparently some of the people on the forum were talking about how creepy Tails Doll is, and then just started spreading urban legends about him. However, the mods on the site eventually shut them down, and they had to move to another forum to talk about it. It's a pretty good video, so make sure to check it out. After you watch my video, of course. The most popular story for Tails Doll is The Tails Doll Curse by Rebecca G. I was surprised that the story itself isn't very long, considering how much content there was behind Ben Drowned's lore. I'm just gonna read the story verbatim since, again, it's not very long. Not to be mean to the writer, who I'm sure was probably a child when they wrote it, but it's no Catcher in the Rye. So some parts of it might give you a little bit of whiplash, but I'll try and read it the best I can. Ever play Sonic R? Possibly a small percent of you have heard of the Tails Doll. Here is one of the stories I have heard from one of my close friends. A man came home from work with a gift for his son. He had picked up a video game for him, Sonic R. It was a racing game, and when he gave his son the gift, he was so excited to get it and play it right away. That night, he played the game with his son, and they had a great time. A couple of days later, the boy was almost finished with the game. His dad was there in his room when he beat the last boss, and he roared in excitement when he finally did it. He smiled and asked him how he liked the game as he watched the credit screen. "What's that?" he asked the boy when the Tails Doll appeared on the screen. The boy said it was Tails Doll. That's all he knew. He told his son it was time for bed. During the night, the curious father went into the boy's room and turned on the TV very quietly to play the game for a while himself. He noticed he had the option to play as Tails Doll. He chose him to tag up with some of the gang. The game was fun until he tagged him up with Sonic. The screen went black when the game system shut itself down. The man decided that it was time for him to go to sleep since he had work in the morning, so he crept out of his son's room and went to lay in bed with his wife. At around 2 a.m., he woke up when he heard thumps on the door. He assumed it was his son getting up to ask him to get him something. He told the boy, "Stop! Get back to bed!" Sorry. The thumping kept happening, and at one point he noticed a little shadow coming from under the door. Tails kept popping into his head. He got out of bed and very slowly opened the door. Then he heard someone say this very softly.
"You are coming with me forever."
It was a doll. An evil, blood-covered, possessed little doll. It was the doll from the game. It had to be. And that's how it ends. Now, I'm 27, so reading this as an adult doesn't scare me. What do I look like, a baby? But if I read this as a kid, it probably would have made me shit my pants, and then probably would have made me shit my next pair of pants. But this isn't the definitive story. As I have said, there are multiple fan stories you can read about Tails Doll, many of which have common threads. On the Creepypasta Files wiki, Tails Doll is described as a mindless, obedient robot to Dr. Eggman, or in this case, a misanthropic, creepy, psychopathic, homicidal, and monstrous machine of mass murder and soul consumption, looking to kill and devour anything it finds purely to satisfy its hunger, sadism, and murderous urges. It's a relentless creature, going out of his way to use anything to slaughter innocents purely for its enjoyment. However, other works have portrayed the doll as a misunderstood or even good entity who wishes to make friends and not be lonely and trapped within the game world. You hear that, guys? The murderous floating doll isn't bad. He's just misunderstood. Now, many of the stories about Tails Doll have some common tropes, one of which being how the Tails Doll curse is activated. I found this comment left by Shadow6000 on a Game FAQ forum. This comment is a legal adult, by the way, being that it was posted 18 years ago. The Tails Doll curse is contained in the game Sonic R. It can be unlocked in several ways. The most common way to activate the curse is to complete the game 100%. In the GameCube version of the game on the Sonic Gems collection, Miyamoto supposedly left a seal to block such a curse. Which, I love the concept that Miyamoto knew this game was responsible for a psychotic doll murdering people, and he decided it was a good game to release on another system. I guess people really needed to play Sonic R. However, to break this seal, one must tag Supersonic as Tails. The third and final method of unleashing the doll upon yourself is to get in front of a mirror in a completely dark bathroom and sing the lyrics of Living in the City backwards, resulting in a faint red glowing in the mirror. After activating the curse, the first sign of your impending doom is a day of bad luck. Usually it starts out small, such as waking up 5 minutes late, but it then escalates and the things important to your life start to disappear. These preliminary stages are provided by the doll to ensure that you believe in him, much like strategies provided by the Bell Witch. After a week or so of horrendous luck, the doll will continue to send you messages, usually in the form of sticky notes or spattered patterns. After some of this continues, the doll will confront you personally and give you two choices: be his eternal slave, or he will devour your soul. All is not completely lost if you discovered that you are indeed cursed by this evil doll. For instance, the Tails doll will stray away from Metal Sonic. If you find that you are cursed, surround yourself with little tokens of Metal Sonic's resemblance. Also, the game Shadow the Hedgehog has some strange properties against the curse as well. But mark my words, as soon as you let your guard down, the Tails doll will attack. Constant vigilance is required. It's crazy to think about the impact these kinds of stories used to have on kids. I remember finding out about Tails doll as a kid and was genuinely scared he was going to get me. While researching this video, I found a funny Reddit post of someone asking if Tails doll was real, and everyone in the comments just messes with him. Yo guys, I was playing Sonic R and immediately thought of the Tails doll curse and removed it from my Dolphin emulator. Is the curse real? Can I play Sonic R without any worries? The curse is real. I beat the game as Tails doll and I died. How you talking? I'm being serious, I need to know. Because he is you, and you are dead. Can you feel the sunshine? I'm dead serious. Well, that's all I really have to say about Tails doll. This video was much harder to make than the Ben Drowned video, as there's no official sort of canon to the story like Ben Drowned has. But let me know your thoughts on whether or not Tails doll used to scare you as a kid. Thanks for watching.